Failure. That's what turning 30 can feel like when you look around and you realize that your life isn't where you thought it would be. But what if you didn't fail? What if you just realized that the life that you built isn't the life that you want anymore? But why is that? Why do we feel like we have to be so established and so perfect by the time you reach your 30s? That number 30 just feels so final. I have clear memories from my early 20s thinking, when I hit 30, that's it. I'll have to be an adult. But that's okay, I'll have it all figured out by then. And if I didn't have at least a portion of my life figured out, then I would have wasted those building formative years of my 20s. We all grew up and absorbed some version of the script. By 30, you should be settled or at least obviously on track for something bigger. And if you're not, it turns into I'm behind, I'm a failure, or I don't know what I'm doing. And what even is this invisible roadmap we're all following? Like, finish school, start a career, partner up, buy a house, kids, very American dream type shit. But again, at least for me, that was what I thought a successful adult life was supposed to look like. But that's just such a rigid way to think about life. We live in a world where a decision that we make at 25 is binding and needs to stick with you at 35. But as we get older, we learn and we become wiser, and you might want to pivot. But we think of pivoting as some sort of confession that we did something wrong. We don't think of it as growth, we think of it as a mistake. And that creates this fear to change our minds or to explore a new path. So you think you need to stay at that job that you're unhappy in, or that you need to stick to a plan that's not for you anymore, and you just become even more unhappy. We're scared of being perceived as someone who got it wrong, but you didn't get it wrong. You might have just outgrew the old version of yourself. Priorities change, but the timeline in our heads doesn't update. So when the only honest move left is to start over, it feels scary and it feels lonely, like you're the only one who didn't get it right on the first try. But surprisingly, a lot of people feel the exact same way. I was reading this article on millennials and money, and it really just summarized exactly what I'm talking about here and exactly what I feel like a lot of us in our 30s feel. In a survey of thousands of adults in the United States, 84% of millennials said that once they reached their 30s, it triggered this real reevaluation of what their goals are. Things like what success actually means and whether these old benchmarks even still apply to their lives. When asked how they feel about their financials, their financial situation, the common words were behind and overwhelmed. Sound familiar? The median marriage age for men and women is up, 30 and 28 respectively. The average age for first-time homebuyers, it's up, it's 40. So measuring your life in 2026 against an old checklist is just a really good way to permanently feel behind. Life is hard, and it's gotten a lot harder in the last 20 years. So not being where you want to be nowadays shouldn't be looked at as this source of shame. We think that we're supposed to have our lives together before we turn 30, but a lot of the time, once you get to your 30s, you learn that there's still work to do. Or you might realize that you spent so much time working on building a life that you don't necessarily want forever. And we feel ashamed or we feel embarrassed. But honestly, I think your 30s might be the best time for you to start over. The thing is, why would you think that you can't start over in your 30s? To me, it's the perfect time, probably because I'm literally doing it right now. So think about your 20s. If you're anything like me, it was a hot mess, but it was a fun hot mess. Big ideas, inconsistent motivation, never enough money, and still learning how to function as an adult in the world. Trying to plant yourself in a life that you assume that you live forever, but once you get to that later phase and you realize that you don't want to do this thing for the rest of your life, why would you not want to change? With time, I think you just become so much more self-aware of what you actually like and what you actually want your life to become. You have more experience to pull from, and you have the maturity and the motivation to actually follow through with things. Way more than you probably ever did when you were 23. When you start over, you're really not starting from zero because, duh, you're in your 30s. You're starting over with experience. So why not use that experience? I use this example a lot from my own personal life because it's so appropriate. I spent the majority of my 20s in school, trying to get into school and stressing out about school. I graduated at 27. I got my doctorate, and on paper, that's a great structured path. And I worked for like a year and a half, and I just remember thinking, like, is this what I'm doing forever? Waking up and commuting and coming home and getting 2 days off? No, hell no. So I started over and I did it my way. I found a way to keep doing the work that I trained for, but in a way that actually fits the life that I wanted. And that's just my personal story. Everyone's starting over point is going to look different. And you want to know the best part? I'm still trying to figure out life. I'm still trying to figure out my life right now. I have plans and I have ideas. I have a much clearer idea of a purpose, but I still don't know 100%. career-wise, creativity-wise, life-wise. I'm excited for the possibilities to come, and the only reason I am is because I opened up my mind to the possibility of starting over in my 30s. And it's the best thing that I could have done. So now I want y'all to tell me, because based on my channel stats, a lot of you guys that watch me are in your 30s and your 40s. A decent sized millennial audience. Have you ever had this feeling that you were too scared to start over? Have you ever started over? And what happened when you did? Did life get better? Do you have a much clearer path or a much clearer purpose? I would love to know. And I would love to hear how other people's stories are going right now. Like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.